Welcome to round 2 of the 2022 Porsche 944 Challenge Series Australia. Proudly sponsored by 888 Home Loans.
The fastest of our one-make tin top series going around. They're Porsche thoroughbreds, exceptionally well balanced. The 50-50 split is famous on these 944s, and they certainly had some great racing.
After the full horsepower of round 1 at Sandown, the series moved to the Victorian High Country. Known for its stunning picturesque scenery, some of the state's best wineries, it's also home to the tight twisty circuit of WINTON Motor Raceway. And whilst this place might lack the high-end outright speed of a Phillip Island, WINTON is still known as one of the most technically challenging circuits on the calendar.
Now the 944s are making their way out onto the grid.
After an intense qualifying session, it was Cameron Bella who claimed pole over Jamie Westaway. Adam Brewer and Mark Torbitz make up the second row, Tony Westaway and Mark Verdino out of row 3. Michael Westaway starts 7th alongside Richard Howe. Josh Brisbane and Andrew Jackman make up the 5th row, whilst the youngster Carter Fox goes against the veteran Keith Mariner. Vlad Kennedy lines up against Jack Atley. Andy Tudor comes out of position 15, with John Venoris taking up the final position of the 16 cars. The field rolled out for race 1 on Saturday afternoon. Clear, warm and dry weather greeted the grid. Conditions considered almost perfect for fast lap times.
Cameron Bella on pole position with Jamie Westaway right alongside.
The two front runners, Bella and Jamie Westaway, took up the usual spots.
To go with Cameron Bella, the last thing he wants to do is give Cameron Bella a clear getaway, and Cameron's done exactly that. Mark Torbitz goes into position number 3 as Adam Brewer just takes evasive action into number 31 right at the last minute there.
But it wasn't long before things got really willing, with Howe and Verdino battling for the mid-pack positions early in the race.
Dick Howe in the number 8, dodging and weaving around Mark Verdino.
With 3 cars already off the track at turn 4, there was no let-up heading into the fast sweeper. And with neither car willing to give up position, it was the number 20 of Andrew Jackman who came off second best.
And around goes the Poolmaster entry of Andrew Jackman. A lot of dust goes up in the air as we're giving the WINTON Motor Raceway a good coating. And there is a communication board going out to the field.
Race officials were also into the action early.
They'll be holding a meatball flag or a black flag, something like that. So we'll catch up with what that information was as soon as we can.
Veteran Dickie Howe decided enough was enough and began his campaign to move up the field.
Look at the side of Richard Howe's car in the German colours there, the black, yellow and red, and he goes off the track again. Not sure why that was.
At times coming too close for comfort to English expat Keith Mariner.
And he goes all wheels to the dirt. A little bit of a jump over the ripper strip getting back on there, so let's hope he hasn't done any damage. And he gives the car in front there a bit of a hurry up as well. Keith Mariner in the number 64 and tears the rear bumper off it. So Richard Howe getting very, very aggressive with it here today. He was aggressive down between 3 and 4 on the first lap, and now he's aggressive coming out of Gumtree with Keith Mariner.
Mariner wasn't the only casualty.
What's going on is we've got a car smoking.
The WINTON safety car made its first appearance after the number 44 side link car cried enough. Mark Verdino lucky to escape the steamy conditions unharmed.
Started out of 6th place, and you'd have to suggest that with that steam coming out there like that, and that's a some sort of head gasket or hose or something like that that has come off the side link number 44, as we see the recovery crew, the WINTON Motor Raceway recovery crew, swinging into action. There's our safety car, ready to pick up the race leader a couple of corners. It'll be Cameron Bella that is leading the way. The gap is really mathematical at the moment, being under safety car. It was Jamie Westaway in position number 2. Mark Torbert's in the number 74, dropping into 3. 31 of Adam Brewer drops in as they all just cruise their way around behind the safety car. A very, very slow 60 kilometres an hour behind the safety car. That will take, it will feel like taking forever after they've been out and about racing very, very hard.
On the restart, race control had more work to do.
Information boards that are enacted upon from race control. And I'm going to suggest that we are probably not too far away from going racing again. Safety car has gone off and we are back underway.
Giving Attlee a 30-second post-race penalty for this incident, judging him to have crossed the start-finish line prior to Brisbane.
For, let's hope, another 5 laps of close racing. There's Jack Attlee in the number 35, pit lane clothing entry, 56 right behind him. So Jack has moved up to position number 7 out of a starting spot of 14. So he's jumped half the field on his way to trying to get a result out of this race. As the cars stream down the straight, great shots coming out of the Blendline TV crew. As the number 74 of Mark Torberts tips it into turn 1, flows it nicely, as does
front runner Mark Torberts came under pressure again.
Brewer wanting to get a move on, started out of P3. This race fastest lap to Cameron Bella, but this is where the battle is raging for the final spot on the podium for this race.
Tony Westaway wasn't giving up easily, throwing everything at Torberts.
Big dive down the outside this time around with the number 3 there. So Tony Westaway and spins. Can't manage to keep it all together. He wants to engage a gear. He does very, very quickly. Spins around. He's lost a whole handful of positions there. That did not come off.
That started a series of offs throughout the field. Vlad Kennedy taking to the grass.
Another car off there as well. That looks...
And Jack Attlee gaining some air after he went straight on at turn 1.
So a couple of spinners on that lap, and there's Jack Attlee. Has he been off as well? He's carrying dirt and bits and pieces underneath his car. So Jack was in 7th place and certainly carrying a lot of rubbish underneath the car there on the number 35. Don't want to mess that car up. It's got the brand new sponsor on the side, Pit Lane Clothing. Check it out. Check out their website.
Andrew Jackman fought back late in the race to gain a position over Keith Mariner.
Goes up the inside of Keith Mariner. Currently looking at Adam Brewer in position number 4.
And Adam Brewer fought right to the end against the consistent Mark Torberts.
Right up onto the back now of Mark Torberts. Mark's really going to have to swing into some defensive mode.
With tyres screaming in the hot conditions and tight racing all round. Torberts, Brewer and Michael Westaway all battled hard for the minor positions.
Needs to hang on to this because the 31's coming at him. Adam Brewer started out of P3. He wants that back. Getting great drive.
But in the end, it was Cameron Bella, home by 5.6 seconds over Jamie Westaway.
And goes around Cameron Bella across the line and takes the win, and a tidy one indeed. Last time round, it was 5.8 seconds back to Jamie Westaway. It ends up being 5.6 seconds to Jamie Westaway. Mark Torberts hangs on strong into P3. He needed that. He needed that points haul from this first race for the weekend, and he'll go into tomorrow with a really good feeling.
So after the narrow disappointment of Sandown, Cam Bella bounces back to take victory in race 1. James Westaway and Mark Torberts taking out the remaining podium positions, with West Australian Andy Tudor rounding out the top 10. Jack Attlee with a 30-second race penalty added to his time, Mark Verdino and John Venoris both with mechanical issues. The field rolled out for race 2 on Sunday morning. Not all went to plan, however, for Richard Howe. An early engine warning light meant the legend was forced to start from the back of the pack after missing the run out to the grid. No such problem for the usual two at the front, Bella and Westaway. with Torberts starting third and Brewer close behind in fourth.
Get around to the grid, not too far away. Jamie Westaway would love to sweep from the right-hand side of the track there, but Cam Bella's clutch take-up just walks it off the line, does a beautiful job, moves over to the ultimate line there, and the number one, the Ausfield Oil Distributors, has to just lob in behind.
After making a great start, Carter Fox looked to take an early advantage against the West Australian, Andy Tudor.
A big dive from Carter Fox there, who we saw numerous times at Sandown off on the dirt.
Whilst Richard Howe was already gaining places by turn 5. Mark Verdino had shown great pace in race 1, and he knew he had a fast car, but a rush of blood saw an early spin for the number 44.
Kiwi cars, a spinner. There it is, Mark Verdino.
Leaving him with some work to do.
Car, beautiful livery. And there he goes, Verdino and Co. Sidelink Pro LED.
Race officials, however, seemed to have the most to attend to. Straight away, handing out an early penalty as Richard Howe's day went from bad to worse.
For a start line infringement. That's interesting, took up the back of the grid. So car 8 will be coming down.
As it turned out, he wouldn't be alone. Bella and Westaway took up the familiar positions, fighting tooth and nail at the front.
Under big pressure now, the Ausfield Oils strip distribution.
And this time, the champion Jamie wasn't going to let Cameron have it all his own way.
Well, have a look at this over the ripple strips. Cambella just starting to look a little bit rattled there. Jamie Westaway applying the thumb screws, got him right where he wants him.
Richard Howe saw the writing on the wall.
The inside line, the number 8. In fact, he looks as though he's just let the number 15 through there. There was no battle. He might have noticed his number with the black flag. The 41 looks up the inside there as well, and that's Vlad Kennedy. Here comes Jack Atley, just at the back of this group.
After making a great start, Vlad Kennedy's day came to a sudden halt with engine issues plaguing the Scarlet number 41.
The 41 now slowing. So that's Vlad Kennedy. He's now slowing dramatically. Quite a famous car preparation company. With 3 wide through the top of the S's at the top of the track coming onto the straight. This is the 41 of Vlad Kennedy. He looks to be very uncomfortable.
And as if that wasn't enough to think about, race officials suddenly got even busier, handing out a 10-second time penalty to 5 cars. Brewer, Brisbane, Atley, Verdino and Howe, all being cited for a blend line infringement.
There's Vlad Kennedy just getting out of the number 41. So that's on driver's left, heading into the water tower. A very vulnerable spot, often a place where cars will go off, and that's why race control have...
A dejected Kennedy walked away as the Winton safety car made its second appearance for the weekend.
Something like that. Sandpit. There's our safety car. We'll pick up our race leader, Cameron Bella, or then Michael Westaway.
On the restart, the 2 leaders were nose to tail, neither giving an inch.
They can't make it to the track here at Winton Motor Racing.
Torberts and Brewer close behind.
Green lights and flags around the track. Get us back underway. And away they go. Everyone just doing exactly what they have to do. Line astern with each other after.
And both Michael and Tony Westaway battling for top 5. Verdino and Tudor got straight down to business, while Josh Brisbane in the number 56 Green Machine was having his best run of the season, holding down 6th. The reigning champion Westaway saw an opportunity.
He's got himself in a very good position on the restart, the number 1. Right in behind the 55 here of Cambella. And have a look at Mark Torberts. Mark Torberts looks down the inside of the number 1. Now,
the tight and twisty nature of the circuit suddenly meant a 2-way battle for the lead had become a battle of 5, with Michael Westaway joining in on the action as well.
And there's the 74 of Torberts. He's got Brewer. Jack Atley copped one for a restart.
Mark Torberts and Adam Brewer continued with the race-long battle for the podium.
Popping it left, right and centre. As we watch the front of this race, Brewer looks at the outside of Torberts. Torberts running his own race. He's got eyes for Jamie Westaway at the moment, but the front 2 have just managed to ease that gap out. We're on lap 7. 9 laps is the journey here in this race.
Eventually though, after 8.5 of the 9 laps done, Brewer saw his chance, and with the door open, he didn't need a second invitation.
Porsche banner across the window. Here it is alongside now. He's left it very late in the race, but Brewer makes it stick for the moment. Torbits has got the inside running, and this is going to be the drag race here as Torbits just runs out down the middle of the track. And what it's going to do is it's going to bring Michael Westaway in onto this as well. We cannot forget that there's also a race at the front with Bella and Westaway, but have a look at that. 8.5 laps in.
Unbelievably, the remaining podium spots were still not decided. Tony Westaway snatching 5th spot over Michael Westaway, literally at the last corner.
Left-handers, Mark Torbits. Oh, it's a bit of a wobble there in the 51.
Out in front, there was no such trouble for Cameron Bella. The 4-time champion, cool, calm and collected, seeing off the pressure, to claim victory over Jamie Westaway by 1.7 seconds.
The one of Jamie Westaway, 1 second behind. Who gets to the line in P3? It's going to be Brewer to Torbits, and that gap is tiny.
In the end, with a string of post-race penalties handed out, it was Bella, Westaway and Mark Torbits taking home the silverware. Andrew Jackman produced a consistent and solid race run, and he would move up the order post-race to 7th, Carter Fox coming home for his best result of the season in 8th. Two from two for Cameron Bella, home from Jamie Westaway and Mark Torbits, with Josh Brisbane and Keith Mariner rounding out the top 10. With the Winton sun shining, the field mounted up for the feature race of the weekend. The 10-lap race 3, and with both pride and a larger bag of championship points on offer, there was plenty to play for.
Our rear of grid and Vlad Kennedy also rear.
Reigning champion Jamie Westaway wanted his chance at glory. Mark Torbits seeking to cement a strong weekend. Mid-pack, Josh Brisbane, Andrew Jackman, Keith Mariner and Carter Fox were all seeking to move up.
To go and lights out. Looks like Jamie Westaway getting the jump there on Bella. Bella grabs second gear, powers it on.
And the fast cars of Verdino and Howe hoping to salvage something from a challenging weekend.
Torbits through very nicely with...
Brewer was on the charge early.
Tony Westaway now has Adam Brewer to deal with as he looks to the inside at turn 3.
Verdino and Brisbane also going at it.
And Mark Torbits now just getting a little bit away from...
Vlad Kennedy's engine eventually called it a weekend.
The 41, Vlad Kennedy. Horrendous weekend.
Number 56, there. Josh Brisbane, wasn't messing around, taking an early spot from Keith Mariner in the silver seat time number 64, whilst Mark Torbits had his card marked by race officials.
And the number 74 for Mark Torbits, unfortunately, a jump start. That's
Bella and Westaway out in front again, and pushing hard, the side-link car of Verdino got past Carter Fox going into the S's. And when Josh Brisbane saw a chance to move up as well, 3 into 2 wouldn't go.
Oh, and that's a massive one there. Not sure how that happened. In fact, car 7, pretty sure that the green car there just went sideways all of his own, and Carter Fox arrived on the scene. The number 56 didn't quite see that, but it's certainly done some damage to the front of Carter Fox's car, right underneath the Poolmaster sign. But yeah, not sure. I'm pretty sure that Fox wasn't into that car until it broke sideways on him. And when you're following so closely, inevitably you end up coming together like that. So not going to blow the whistle on that one just yet. We need to leave that to the officials trackside that would have had a close eye on that. We go back to the lead of this race. And it's Cameron Bella. Crests the hill on the old start-finish straight here at Winton Motor Raceway. The property looking very good, freshly mowed. And the safety crew or the recovery crew here have done a tremendous job right around the track. See if we can get that replay just one more time. I'm not prepared to throw anyone under the bus just yet. There it is from the tail angle. Spears behind the tree where the contact occurred, but certainly they were in close quarters with each other. And
Brewer found himself in a Westaway sandwich.
EJM 900 Championship, that's not going to work out tremendously well for you. Brewer looks to the inside now. Ever, the protagonist, he gets right up beside the number 3 there. And they're going on those alternative lines through the Gumtree part of the track around the top end, around turn 9.
The fight for the top 7 was still raging, with Jackman, Verdino, and a sideways Richard Howe throwing everything at the 2.
20 actually started out of 7th in this race and holding on to 7th, and there's the charging Richard Howe that made 4 races.
And after starting out at 12th position, with pace to burn,
and Richard Howe
Verdino eventually got his man,
losing the back of Mark Verdino in the last couple of corners.
when Jackman had a misfire, causing his machine to suddenly slow.
Race distance for the feature race for the weekend, and a big dive out of the last early does.
With the 2 front runners heading for the sunset, the battle for the final podium spot became a 4-way fight between Torbets, Tony Westaway, Adam Brewer and Michael Westaway. But with track temperatures rising and tyres becoming a factor late in the race, Tony Westaway suddenly found the fence, going straight on at turn 9.
That thought pattern a couple of laps ago. Mark Torbets will now be working very hard. The number 3 just spears off.
Almost immediately, Richard Howe had just as scary a moment when he left the track at high speed virtually at the same time.
Track Richard Howe up at the water tank at turn 7, and the number 3 there of Tony Westaway, that was at turn 9. Didn't even make the corner, tried to turn it, and it just went straight on.
And with the potential safety car issue, the race was called.
We're seeing, there's Richard Howe going off at the entry to turn 7. A real tricky part of Winton. In fact, that is one of the trickiest corners in Australian motorsport. You come out of the sweeper on camber, then it throws you off camber. Here it is again. Another replay. That's at turn 9, where we see Tony Westaway. We're looking now at the race leader.
It didn't make any difference for Cameron Bella. Home over Jamie Westaway with a powerhouse performance, taking 3 race wins from 3 races for the weekend.
Take 3 from 3. Jamie Westaway will be scratching his head. 0.3 of a second behind, going, how am I going to take it up to Cam now?
And it doesn't get any sweeter than that.
Had a great run at Sandown, and now Cam Bella is back.
So the feature, race 3, saw Cameron Bella take victory over Jamie Westaway with Adam Brewer in 3rd. Keith Mariner and Carter Fox rounded out another top 10 result for both of them, while Verdino and Howe salvaged some much needed points for the weekend. The dominant display and 3 victories by Cameron Bella sees him jump to the top of the standings by 4 points over Jamie Westaway going into round 3 at the fast and furious Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit.
And look to the next race. They'll be looking to the 15th and 16th of May at the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit for round 3